And we're live. Well, it is November 6th, 2024, day after the American elections. And I thought we would kick this thing off. Normally we go straight into all the crypto news, but I thought we'd spend a little bit of time on what the U.S. election means for crypto. And then the certainly the Gristle King election message. And Joe, you're welcome to add anything you want. And then we'll go into all the crypto news. There's actually a fair amount of that. So I put a link in the description onto it's what elections mean for crypto. I think there's a CoinDesk piece that came on there. The big news that I saw was that, Senator Sherrod Brown got voted out and replaced with Bernie Moreno, who's a blockchain businessman. So for us crypto people, this election seems like it was pretty darn good. I know that Trump has promised to remove Gary Gensler. We'll see how that goes. I never like to see anyone get kicked out or fired or beaten down or whatever, but I also want to see my my business and my business ecosystem do super well. Let's see. I sat down and wrote this up this morning, then we'll go through the news after this. So I don't care if your candidate won or lost. I care what happens next. The majority of the American people have voted for change. Let's see if we can all work together to continually make this country better. Think about how your most important mentors would advise you to act in this state. It could be a Greek general, a Persian poet, an American philosopher. It doesn't really matter who you're thinking of. Just ask yourself, what is the highest and best thing that they would advise me to do to move forward? If your team won, be gracious in victory. Always give a hand up to the losers. They suffered a pretty rounding defeat. We only really win if we work together. So look to see where you can put your shoulder to the wheel. If your team lost, be gracious in defeat and seek to understand the viewpoint of the winners. Seek out the actual truth, which is well hidden amongst the media blitz on both sides. And that's not to say that there's a bunch of bullshit news out there. There is, or that people are hiding it. Just make sure you find what is actually true. And then the truth is somewhere along the lines of all people want a better life. Most of us are willing to work hard for it, to accept the good luck with the bad and to soldier on. We may disagree on how to get where we're going, but I'm pretty sure all humans want a life filled with joy, security, friends, and family. Let's get there together. That's my GK election message. Joey, anything to add before we jump in the news?
Onwards.
Okay, onwards. Yeah, I think that's the right thing. The Bitcoin white paper turned 16 since the last State of the Network, so that's pretty cool. This whole thing has been going for 16 years. Let's see if we can do Onocoy news. Yeah, I'll do my all my logos this time. They have announced the winners of the station setup challenge, so you can check out the pictures on their various station setups. I haven't got my fancy new antennas in, but I have been testing a bunch of. I've been testing the stability of a non-penetrating roof mount and realizing that it is just as the experts have warned me. It is not stable enough to do centimeter accuracy precision. So I've got one more thing to try on it, but right now I think I'm going to have to move to bolting the thing to the side of my house. On Anyone news, this is actually, they started off their incentivized testnet. And I know we don't talk in general about pricing, but if you just want to multiply what their current token price is in the open market by how many tokens you make, you'd probably come up with a number around $8 a day. I know I paid $400 for those NFTs last year. So you can do your own math on the ROI on that, but that's looking pretty good and maybe the best out of any of the current blockchain projects out there as far as the how quickly it returns. So pretty interesting, worth looking into, not financial advice. Let's see. We'll skip past the threefold, folks. I haven't seen anything new from them. We'll skip past the Lone Star. Let's get into the Helium ecosystem. I saw that the Shin podcast came out, and then I also saw the podcast on discovery mapping came out. So I think what we're seeing in general in Helium is kind of continued building, continued growth. They're working super hard on getting everything that they can possibly to work. I've been doing almost entirely IoT stuff, although I'll talk a little bit more at the end about some of the stuff I've been doing using a Helium SIM card to build this kind of stacked pole that'll go out in the mountain, and the various trials and tribulations, disasters and defeats, triumphs and victories that go along with that. In Hivemapper news, my Hivemapper, my HDC TAC S, seems like it's completely disconnected. I don't know what happened to the thing. I went to turn it on the other day, but it turns on, but it doesn't connect to my phone. So I've got to trouble took it in with them. They've got new bursts out in New Jersey, and they've got incoming ones in Arizona and California. DIMO has usually the most news out of all the Deepin projects. They're doing a really good job staying up on it. The big thing that I saw with was that the transactions SDK is here, so you can expect more apps to be built. That's always super cool when we see these SDKs come out. For us non-nerds, it doesn't really mean much other than it allows all the nerds to build on and with these things in ways that are super useful to us. Let's see. Wingbits, they announced the 1-year anniversary of their public beta launch. God, I got in on that pretty early. I didn't realize that. I think I was just there before their beta launch last year, which is great. They've got 2-second latency on 95% of their data. And when I was talking to Robin at Wingbits in a recent Deep in State, I think he said that most of the other networks have like a 2-minute latency. So they are way, way faster. Because I was asking him for my own purposes, like, hey, does latency matter that much for Wingbits? Spexy, every time I see Spexy, I always want to go buy a drone and get my drone license and fly. And then I realize I've got a million other things to do. They are opening up Chicago, Providence. I think it's Providence, Rhode Island, but I'm not sure. There might be another Providence out there. And Las Vegas. Las Vegas are opening up this month. So if you're in any of those places and you've got a drone and you've got the FAA, was it Part 107 license? I think it's the same license that you need for a paraglider, but I'm pretty sure I can't transfer my paraglider license over to drone license. But it's the same part of, I think, of the FAA regulations. That covers that. Let's see. Srcful has announced they've got 75 energy gateways online. They released firmware 0.16.0. So I think in general, what I'm seeing with them is builders are going to keep on building. They're getting after it, doing the best they can. WeatherXM announced the WeatherXM Pro. They put a link on their Discord to book a call with their biz dev guys. So I thought that was pretty bold, where anyone can book that link. I'm imagining they're going to get some calls where the guy's like, dude, why did you put this link in public? I'm talking to angry Discord members. But it is cool to see them opening that up. I know I talked to Monos last week about for the Onocoy project that I've got, the Onocoy folks are helping me take the data set from my WeatherXM station and then match it up to the vibrations on the Onocoy pole so we can see a kind of peak wind here in San Diego, which is really 8 to 10 miles an hour. Is it moving the Onocoy station that's on the non-pen roof mount in a noticeable way? And it turns out that it is. So it's kind of cool to get those two pieces of data together. And now you no longer need to use the kind of janky workaround GitHub thing that I was using to get WeatherXM data. You can use this WeatherXM Pro thing. So that was kind of cool. Let's see. Next up is NATIX. Let's see if we can get them. There we go. Cool. Their October update is another 183,000 new drivers and app users. That seems like a shitload of new people, and another 96 million kilometers driven. As an American, I always think it's funny when people talk about kilometers driven because it's like, yeah, but how many miles? Which is a real asshole thing to say, but goddamn, these elections are pretty wild. Okay, and then IDO. Let's see. No, I got session next. Ooh, I may not have a session thing. So we'll have to do the blank. So in session, I think the interesting thing with session is I'm just watching their community melt down a little bit on Telegram. It is almost exactly the same thing that happened to WeatherXM. So fairly toxic environment if you get on the session Telegram. But the kind of giant ray of sunshine and hope there is I've seen the same thing happen to WeatherXM. I helped WeatherXM get through that last year. You know, it certainly wasn't entirely me, but I think we can look at these things and say like, hey, it looks pretty bad right now, but it's probably going to be okay as long as they get to TGE at some point in the next, 6 months. They're going to be fine. So don't lose all hope if you're in the session Telegram and losing your fucking mind. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
I fucked that up, but I was going to make you a little card.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. I like that, Joey. And then the last folks I wanted to do is IDO. I've got to get Kevin and I got to find a better logo for them. Kevin down at Flywheel Systems, who's done all the logos and graphics for this. But they launched their closed beta. Check out, we just did a recent Deep in State with them, and they're doing a thing where you can take any IoT device, and almost any device, and connect it into their system, and then you decide how you want to, like how much you want to sell your data for. So you could take your IoT device, and really the kind of big takeaway there was, for me, was with all of these AI models coming online, they're all super hungry for real data. Now there's this big race in AI to have, to see if they can get synthetic data, which is made up data, and train their models on that. But what seems to be super valuable is this real data, and IDO is making it so that you sell your data to AI training sets, which they say is super profitable. I haven't gotten into their beta, whatever closed thing, so I don't know how much you'd actually make. But they said when the AI models start buying your data, it's a pretty big deal. So I think that wraps up what I've got for Deep in News. Remember to check out Flywheel Systems if you want to get some miners deployed. They're down at the bottom right, and I think the link is down in the description. And then I already read my election message. So we're done. 10 minutes. Shit, yeah, Joey.
Nice.
What's
Yeah.
going on in your world, Joey? I got a ton of stuff to talk about on kind of Helium and connectivity side, but what do you got going on for you?
Uh, yeah, I mean, you touched at the high level. There's just a lot of stuff cranking. Um, we've got a brand new Explorer in the works that is just beautiful. I'm so excited to get that out in the world.
Is that the thing I'm
Um,
seeing on my new, like, because I think I'm on the beta for Helium? Is it my Helium
nope,
wallet or no?
totally different. Also
Okay.
cooking over there. That's the
Okay.
super app. Yeah.
Oh, this is oh, okay. So totally different than. And I went to put Helium Mobile's app on my Android phone as I was fucking around with this connectivity thing, and I couldn't find it on the Google Play Store. That's probably just me because I could see Helium Builder, but I couldn't see their phone app.
Could be around. Um, yeah, the carriers, the Helium mobile carrier is one of the things that I have sort of the least visibility into.
Yeah.
It's like big, network product stuff.
Yep.
Um, um, yeah, so cool stuff happening there. Cool stuff happening on the IoT side. The working group's gonna get like a sort of fresh push of a bunch of like just absolute killers. You've already put a grant proposal in. That's awesome to see. I think there's another one that has already landed or is going to land. Um, so yeah, a bunch of cool stuff happening there.
That's right. I
I
forgot
see.
about that. The IoT working group grant thing. We should probably take a hot minute and spend some
Yeah,
time on that. So if I'm getting it right, the IoT working group has gotten agency over a chunk of IoT tokens, and they can use those IoT tokens as they see fit. And there's some of those go towards the grants, and some of those maybe are going towards paying the folks to show up for the calls. That was like my general takeaway.
it's open-ended to what the working group decides to do. Um, the funds the structurally the way it'll work behind the scenes is effectively the working group will make recommendations to the foundation. The foundation is going to go execute on like doing out the payments and all that kind of stuff. Um, but it's with a like, yes, whatever you say goes kind of thing. So as long as the working group comes to some consensus there, we'll push that stuff forward. Um, so yeah, but again, like the stuff that's really exciting to me is anything that's like driving usage on the network.
Mm-hmm.
So educational materials, like you know, whatever, right? Like you can cast that in a bunch of ways. Um, and then one of the things that's been a bit of a pain point is sort of continued work on anti-gaming and like a system that can like be continually iterated on. And so I'm excited that I think we're going to see I'm not going to say who because I don't know if they've published it yet, but um, there's a proposal in there that'll sort of wrap a bunch of that stuff up that I think will be really good too. Um, which will hopefully let the working group focus on the usage side a lot more. Um, and yeah, just to name a few, I saw Suburban's in here. He's on the roster for the new inbound class. We've got Jeremy, obviously
Yep.
familiar face in this group, Star Watcher, and then one that some folks might not know is Frenchman, but this is
Oh
the
yeah.
the main architect behind the old router on the L1 as well as HPR for the new infrastructure. So again, really deep understanding of LoRaWAN and a lot of uh, close feels around its future success. So a lot of good opportunity for the working group pushing forward there. Um, let's see. Derek mentioned Sourceful. I saw Frederick last weekend. I'm actually drinking coffee that he brought me from Sweden.
No.
Um,
Right on. Let
so
me see if I can put up their stuff.
those
I gotta
guys.
put my glasses back on to fucking see anything.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they rebranded. I think it's sort of a thing worth noting. I don't know if we've talked about that, but they dropped the confusing spelling and went to Sourceful like you've got it up here. You know, worked with awesome designer, got like a whole identity together. But they've been pushing really hard on new integrations for inverters in the field, and then getting that firmware out for dual support on racks and things like that. And I think they're coming up really close on TGE, so that'll be exciting for them.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's see. What's Derek asking? When we refer to deepened projects as L1, L2, are we referring to the I no,
I
that's
don't know
just
what
the
the
blockchain.
OSI model is,
I think
so
that's just
I'm
like the
going.
nerdy software shit where they're like layer 1, layer 2 of the application layer, the physical layer, the blah blah blah. No, like we're talking about blockchains, Derek.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Uh,
um,
Solana being an L1, Ethereum being an L1.
yep.
Um,
Arbitrum
yeah,
being, I'm pretty sure, an L2. So,
thanks. So, I actually don't even know.
fuck. It's like all these things are so goddamn confusing.
They,
Let's see.
then people are like, I'm an L0. Like, I don't even know what that
Yeah,
means.
oh,
So,
for Christ's
yeah,
sake.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So let's talk a little bit about the grant proposal. I think
Mhm.
the nice thing is that the the grant proposals that you write end up being in public, and that's pretty cool to just to see how people are doing it and to see what's going to work and what doesn't. And you can go back. I'm assuming Helium has not removed all of the successful grants from their old GitHub. I can't imagine that's the case. So you can look at every grant that's ever
Yeah.
been put in and see what the successful ones look like. This time, I think in the past, Helium used to come to me and say like, "Hey, we'd want to do this thing," or I'd go to them and say, "I want to do this thing," and they would help me walk through it. And this is the first one I think I figured out most of it on my own. And I want to say giant props to Travis Teague, here, Ill Peripherals, yeah, who basically set up a structure to make it really easy for anyone to put in a grant. So I think that was a big deal for me. Was it used to be you'd have to go into GitHub and you have to figure out GitHub and it's a pain in the ass and there's forking and fucking like, and there still is like that stuff still exists, but a lot of the structure in there that was going to be repeatable for every single grant, but that wasn't, is now in there. And Travis has done a superb job on making, removing a ton of friction. So props to
Yeah.
Travis.
Yep. No, he's crushing it. I think that the HIP process has taught us a lot about how templates are really helpful to make sure that all the points that need to be hit are hit. And yeah, I feel really good about the sort of future approach here.
Yep.
I worry a little bit about spreading ourselves too thin because grants are a lot of work. We used to have a Clarissa that was amazing
Yep.
and, coordinated all of this stuff and made sure people were hitting milestones and getting paid and all that. Um, so fingers crossed we
Yeah.
don't stretch ourselves too thin. But
It's tough because I don't think Helium has figured out the governance part yet. I think it's still this kind of work in
yeah,
progress, and it's going to be pretty messy. And there's, I don't think anyone in the world has figured out amazingly good governance. It's just always messy and unfair to some people and fair to others. And there's always going to be folks bitching. Kind of Exhibit A just happened last night
yeah.
on that one.
I,
So
I mean, my partner is like, "Why are you not more worked up about this election stuff?" I'm like, "I got governance all day long." Like,
there's a lot of shit going on. And for crypto, certainly this election seems like it was pretty good.
sure.
Depending on the rest of your life, you may be super psyched or super not psyched. But for crypto, I think we can be pretty psyched on. And I saw, what is it, Bitcoin hit a new high. I don't usually deal with or fuck around with pricing too much because it is what it is. But it is
Yep.
pretty cool to see that thing jump.
Yeah. And almost in lockstep with like the futures predictions on the election and stuff. It was, yeah, pretty
Yeah,
clear.
yeah. The betting.
Um,
I was looking at the election stuff and looking at the betting. So I'd look at the polls and then I would look at what people are actually putting their money into, and that seemed to be a pretty accurate predictor. What's up,
I,
Siegfried?
I was dollar cost averaging all the way down to zero. So
Yeah.
that was my night last night.
That's the wrong fucking thing to turn off there. Let's see if I could turn the right thing off and then get the, what is it, this one? There we go. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. What else is going on? Oh, I wanted to go back. So the grant, you can go and see any of the grants and see what people are asking for and how they're
Yep.
asking for it. I used ChatGPT to write kind of the middle part of mine just to make sure I wasn't making huge mistakes on the tech side. So the one that I put in was for building a dashboard so you can see what's going on, for like just basically a replacement for data cake or
Hmm.
the old app.medioscientific, which I've since shut down.
Yep.
And showing you how to do that on your own so that you could, if you get a Raspberry Pi or anything, virtual server, you can go in there and say, okay, I'm going to set this Grafana up. I'm going to set this, Node Red up to wire all these things together. And here's the flow of the data. And here's how the whole thing works. So if you want to see, I think I put in for we've got a 500 gallon rainwater tank cistern in the back. And I put a little sensor in there, and I'll use that as a demonstration to say, hey, here's how you could visualize, how much that sensor is filling up. And we got our first rain in San Diego in a while, so we saw that filling up. And then as Travis is saying on the chat, because I used ChatGPT and didn't check it, it said, this any LoRaWAN network, including TTN, should be used in this way. And I was like, oh shit, and I had to go back and change it. So you can see.
Yeah, you
got
gotta edit. I gotta edit that ChatGPT. We will find you.
Yeah. Luckily, Travis pointed out pretty quickly, but I certainly was moving too fast there.
Yep.
So,
it's a tool. I love the rainwater thing. I set one up last week, and I really should put a sensor in there. Are you using a barometric pressure sensor?
Nope, I'm using that LDDS 75, which is
the range.
Yeah, the rangefinder thing.
Okay, yeah. I've got two of those. I just slap one in there.
Yeah, they're super easy. I still have a ton of sensors, and I keep going back and forth. Like, should I just sell these things on eBay so that someone else gets them at a good deal? I think I've put a couple of them on eBay and they don't sell, or do I just sit around and wait until I figure out a good use for them? And I think I'm leaning towards the second.
Yeah,
because I always have big plans of doing videos for every single one. Then other shit comes up.
Same. Yeah, I know. Part of my brain is like, wow, I could make so many cool grants, but it's like, oh, you don't have time, Joey. That's why you're not writing this stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. I should have taken some pictures of this because I've got them somewhere. This low latency project. So what is it? I don't know when BFG Neil put in the low latency HIP, but the HIP was basically, and I forget which is 79 or 81 or something. It's basically said, hey, for hotspots, for IoT hotspots, we're going to take the first 16 if there's more than 16, and we're going to reward the first 16 to report that they heard a signal.
Right.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah. I don't remember the HIP number, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it was called the low latency HIP, but that's what I'm calling it.
Okay. Yep.
So when that went through, I had a couple hotspots that are out in the mountains that are on cell backhaul, and they went from being the top earners in the region to earning almost nothing because they lost almost all the races. They're coming in at 200 milliseconds or 250 milliseconds or whatever, which 250 milliseconds, a quarter of a second, for a human doesn't really matter. And for most LoRaWAN applications, it doesn't matter. No one who's using LoRaWAN that I know about is using it for critical millisecond applications. I'm sure someone is. 83. Thank you, Neil. And so I was like, dang it. I don't like losing these races, even though the actual value of the token is not that high. It's not enough to warrant what I decided to do, to make it super clear. I'm under no illusion that this thing will pay off. But I thought, okay, what is the way that I could do the best possible job within reason, without spending, 40 grand or something ridiculous to improve the latency on these off-grid cell backhauled hotspots. And so I looked around, I found that there's Qualcomm has come out with this new X75 modem. They're still so new that this is ridiculous. The only way you can buy them that I can find, you can't order them on a Shopify store, is I went on Reddit and I asked around for help with lowering the latency. And some guy's like, oh yeah, I'll build you a custom one with this new modem. It's an engineering sample. I'm using this and this, and I put all this stuff in my Discord. It may just only be in the AF section. And it's an RM551E TAC GL. I should probably put that in the description. So that's the modem. And then there's a little thing that it sits in that gives you the ability to plug in an Ethernet cable to it. So now you're piping in data in an Ethernet. And then because I wanted multiple miners in this thing, I wanted to add in a router. So I added in this Edge Router X from Unify, which made the thing super complex and a giant pain in the ass. And then I bought this $400 MIMO 4x4 antenna. I was like, okay, if I am willing to spend about $1,000, could I radically improve my latency? And I think the answer is I can improve it, but I can't radically improve it. So it went from I'll have to actually check on a regular router what it went from to, but now it's about 30 milliseconds from the roof of my house. So I've got to carry the thing out to the end of this mountain, put it up there and test it there.
See the distance? It's what is it like? I did the math on this. Like the speed of light goes X miles in a millisecond. Uh,
It's probably a lot.
I can't remember what I came up with there, but it shouldn't be a big difference between the roof of your house and wherever it is you're deploying it.
Yeah, I
So,
mean it's 8
yeah.
kilometers to the nearest station from the mountain. Where roof of my house, it's like maybe a kilometer. Maybe it's probably more like 500.
Miles, miles.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like what is it? Third of a mile to 4 miles, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
5 miles. Um, yeah. So I mean, there's definitely a distance, and then what's this? Oh, no, and all's new dedupe help. Hip should help out. Yeah. So the
yeah,
plus side is I've got the unique hexes, and I think the thing for me was it's not so much the token stuff, although that's always nice. It was just I fucking hate losing these things. I hate losing these things for having done a good job. Is the way that I like. That's my perspective. Is like I went through this massive
Mhm.
effort to get all this stuff out there, and then even though it's an edge case, not everyone's going to put these things on a mountain. They're not going to be particularly useful on mountains all the time, just because there are other IoT devices that are not out in the rural area that are in urban areas. So those things need to get rewarded too. I was just like, oh, I don't like this, and I'm going to do something about it. So it's been
Yeah.
super fun to go through learning about how this modem works, how you like, and I put a Helium SIM in the modem, so that's kind of cool. So it's
Mhm.
running on T-Mobile. So there's some CGNet issues with, and CG is carrier grade network address translation, I think it is.
Mhm.
Issues on this thing, so it's harder to get the Raspberry Pi that's behind the router, that's behind the modem, to be able to talk to the internet and open up ports. I'm still struggling with that and getting some IP pass-through stuff and bridge mode and blah blah blah. And because the modem's so new, it's still a pain in the ass. But I don't know. The whole thing is just super complex and exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it kind of comes to the thing. I want to get us to a point where we don't have to like tweak proof of coverage kind of forever.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I if there was some magic switch to flip that just created awesome incentives for rural deployments like that, I would do it immediately. Um, I
yeah,
just, we've kind of toyed around that a little bit with this like DC pricing thing that I had floating around, which I'm not pushing as firmly right now, just because of the feedback has been really helpful in sort of giving a lot of context around feelings around pricing of data transfer.
yeah.
Um, but the thing that I liked is it, suddenly data pricing or data reward for a hotspot goes from like relatively small and dense urban areas to like 10x higher in rural areas per hotspot.
Yeah.
Um, so
And
there's, yeah.
it's tough because you do keep track of stuff like how well you're doing through the tokens you earn. Like you can't deny that. Like that's how
Mhm.
basically that's how I'm keeping score. Um, but the value of those is pretty low. So it's been like a fun way to get in there and figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
going to be
And
some fun stuff in the revamped Explorer that um,
yeah.
will give you a little bit of a sense of like, I think how things are playing.
Yeah. Siegfried, remember my suggestion to scale up network rewards for hotspots depending on how many empty hexes to the nearest other one?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like a bunch of different options here, and it comes down to where do we put our working efforts? And for me,
Mhm.
because I'm, just like every other human selfish, like I want to put my, efforts towards like my hotspot on the mountain that is, I think, awesome and badass, but that may not be the best thing for the Helium network overall. So I got to be careful
Yeah.
not to take my personal thing and sidetrack the,
And
the
yeah,
direction of
there's
the
there's
network.
a lot of cool stuff that people are continually doing around setting up rural deployments. I was talking to a company that's based in Denmark last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They were in San Francisco. I came on out. I ended up. It meant to just be like a little quick lunch chat. I
Mm-hmm.
ended up talking for like 2 hours or something.
Yep.
But they built an entire system for off-grid deployments, and they've been working with various telcos for LoRaWAN stuff. And he's like, "How do I get these things on Helium?" He's like ready to go. Um, and the deployments they end up doing, they've designed this thing to work, Arctic Circle level, like solar challenges. This thing will stay powered like all dark winter, stuff like that.
This isn't the
Um,
Blues Wireless thing, is it? No.
no,
Something else. Okay.
These guys are mostly just making the thing they focused on is a really, really low power gateway. So
Okay.
uh, cell radio, everything like it was like 1.2 watts or something,
Yep.
just crazy. Um, and so they do a ton of optimizations in software and firmware and hardware to get there. Um, but yeah, they're going and deploying these things on mountaintops and farm fields, dead zones, like all that kind of stuff, going and filling them in. So pretty
Rad.
cool. See that kind of stuff happening. And then you've got like folks like Suburban who's just been like grinding on Twitter, trying to like identify dead zones on the map and get hotspots in there. So I don't know, love seeing all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He's hustling super hard. Let's see. Oh, I missed USC, the well-known American college, University of Southern California,
Mhm.
which is downtown LA. I think
Mhm.
I was on their campus years ago when I was doing some work for Red Bull, and I'd forgotten where they were, and then I had to remember where it was. Their blockchain club is doing a thing, I think, this weekend. So it's what is it, 8th, 9th, and maybe 10th? What's today, the 6th?
Yep.
And I think I'm going to go up there on behalf of anyone, and it looks like I'll go hang out with those guys a little bit. I may give a talk on Deepin, I may not. We'll see what we get arranged. But yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's a blockchain club thing at USC. So that's kind of cool to see like students and how do we tell them about Deepin, where they're focusing on just blockchain or learning about blockchain. It's like, hey, there's this kind of cool
You
thing.
gotta you gotta do the thing where you show people that they're connected to Helium Mobile
Yeah,
while you're there.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I should probably bring up a
I'm going to
hotspot.
be doing about the same thing actually this weekend. I'm going to be in Ann Arbor,
Okay,
and there's a blockchain university blockchain meetup going on
nice.
there too. And I'll be talking along with DIMO, Yeb from DIMO,
Oh, cool. I
and
like Yev.
you know,
I like all the
just
demos, man.
generally, yeah, no, they're all great.
Yeah,
Um, so that'll be fun. That'll be my weekend, basically being on planes, but
yeah. No,
I'll
I'm
be
lucky
in
enough I
Ann
get to
Arbor for
drive.
one day. Yeah,
It shouldn't be so bad. And
yeah.
so I'm curious. I think the last time that I talked, and this makes me sound like an old man. The last time I talked with a college student, I think Max and I were at like I don't know something in Denver, probably East Denver, and this guy came up to us and he was asking us what we do, and we told him we do deep in consulting and we help with incentives and the rest of it. And he's like, "Oh, are you using the Nash equilibrium all the time?" And Max and I are like, "No, not really. Like it's pretty wild west right now. Like there's definitely some numbers and spreadsheets involved, but no, the fanciness of doing a million equations is not quite there yet."
Yeah, it's actually, I think one of the most exciting things about Deepin is like almost all of these projects have taken radically different approaches to sort of solving this, you
Yeah.
know, incentive model problem.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, Derek. I see Derek. You've had a ton of questions. I've missed most of them. Is the blockchain club open to the public, and will this event be streamed? I think so. Just look up
Yeah.
USC Blockchain Club and see what their thing is. And I don't know for yours, Joey, if they're going to
Yeah,
stream it.
that's Midwest. Look at my calendar here. Midwest Blockchain Conference. Um,
Okay.
it should be open. I think it's free. You should come if you're in the neighborhood. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
If you're nearby to Ann Arbor.
Yep.
Let's see. What else did Derek ask? I think he asked who made the LDD L75? Yeah, there it is. Who makes it, and where can we
That's a
get one?
mile site, right?
Pretty sure it's Dragino.
Oh, okay.
I could be
Yeah.
wrong. And you can get one on on the internet. Yeah, I think I've got one or two left. I had one because I used those out at the vernal pools, and then I pulled them all in the summer.
All right.
Um, Actually, now that it's gonna be rainy season, I should put them back again. But I think it's been 2 years since I did that, and they were still working. Like I haven't changed the battery on them, and I don't think the battery is that easy to change for a non-nerd. For like you or Travis, it's a joke, but for most people, it's not like you're putting in new double A's.
No. And getting your hands on those batteries is the whole thing too.
Is it? Oh, it's a pain in
I
the
was,
ass.
yeah. Well, I was talking to uh, Dana, who's in your Discord. He does
Hmm? Oh yeah.
the metering stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And he's like, I got a whole box of these things. I'll send you one. I was like, all right, trade you a hotspot. Let's
Ah,
go.
it's like
Um,
straight
yeah.
up drug deals.
Yeah. But I've got a sensor that's out in the mountains and the battery died on it, and I just every time I'm out there, it's like I need a screwdriver, I need the right battery, and I always forget something, and it's been dead for like a year now. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
gotta get
think
that
that's
thing back to life.
it's like the downside of the upside is the batteries last so long that you just forget about them. And then you're like, oh
Exactly.
shit, I've got to go
Yeah.
back in time to buy this battery again.
Yeah. Whatever happened to our super cap summer? We were supposed to go battery free here.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do
I think we got a
super cap
t-shirt
Santa
design
or
and that's as
something.
far as we got on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always
Well,
thought that super cap summer stuff was rad. I just didn't do much with it. I'm trying to think what
yeah.
I got caught up with in over the summer. I know we had a ton of work to do.
Well, that super cap stuff's just so dang expensive. You do the solar, you do the controller, the super cap, and you're in like $100. It's like, all right, well, batteries are pretty nice. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
our yeah.
Someone just sent me a picture of like $100,000 worth of sensors they got on a pallet. I was like, huh, that's not a lot of sensors, but it's all like super fancy stuff. So you can spend a lot of money pretty easily on these sensors
Oh
and
yeah.
batteries. Like once you're getting into the high end stuff, and that's what I found with this low latency project is like, oh yeah, the modem is $580, the antenna is $400, the edge router is a
Oh
hundred
yeah.
bucks, the nerdy fucking connector is this.
I've spent so much money through Ubiquity and stuff in the past like month. It's just
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. Tell me about
Yeah.
what's going on with the off grid stuff. I haven't caught up with you or Shawnee or whatever's going on with the disaster stuff. I'm assuming that's just gonna
Yeah,
be like nothing's gonna happen until the next disaster, and it's like, holy shit, go now.
basically. Yeah. And so like I actually want to take this lull and I think I want to send one of the rigs to you, let you play around with it, and then you can hand it off to Shawnee. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
hope.
Let's send it. I
But
mean, I would say let's send it to her, and I'll meet her up in Morrow, and then we'll take it out to that giant ranch that she's got
and
access to.
I'll come out tomorrow Bay. It's an easy drive.
Yeah,
So yeah. Um,
and she's super
yeah,
connectable.
yeah, we're actually looking around the grant stuff a little bit, see if this can be like a sustainable like solution for these types of things. Um, but I did open source all of the plates, drop some
Yep,
links on Twitter around
I
that.
saw that. Yep.
And so a couple of people have hit me up and they're like, yeah, we're looking at doing these things. They're a little expensive on send cut send. Um, you need big scale to make things make sense there. And so I'll throw this out as a like sort of general call. If you know people that do sheet metal manufacturing, can do like inserts or laser cuts, or I could redesign this thing around like whatever capability, but I'd love to find a way to do a run on these that is not going to break the bank. Um, so putting that out in the world, I'm going to hit up a couple of like industrial designer friends and kind of see what they know. But it would be awesome to have these manufactured in the US. It would unlock a lot of like the grant type stuff where they want to see those, that sort of manufacture. It's also easier for shipping logistics, but also open to doing it overseas.
Cool. Super cool. Yeah, my guess is like when there's not this giant need for it, people are like, it's too expensive. And then when the disaster hits, they're just like, I don't care what it takes. I need it there, yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah, the people that we've been working with are just eating this stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah, T gets 3/16 aluminum is what I'm using for those plates. The top plate could be thinner, but the side plates I went 3/16 because then I didn't need washers or anything, and I could just like direct thread into the plate. It was kind of a nice simplification.
Cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
What else? I wish I would have taken. I don't. Let me see if I've got. No, I don't think I have any of these screenshots from the inside of this modem, which has got this manager where you can. It's all like. I'll go dig this thing up. The GitHub is I am Romulan, Romulan. I'll see if I can find it right now. And this dude is such a fucking nerd on. Yeah, I'll drop this link in the chat, and then I'll
If
bring
you're
it up on
going
the
Star
screen.
Trek like straight off the gate, like yeah, I am Romulan. Is that
Yeah,
is that what I'm making it at?
yeah. I mean, maybe it's pronounced different, and he's actually like, no, it's you're supposed to pronounce it like Yamir Omulin, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait,
Um,
what is this thing? This is a
so the
this is a little quick tell modem.
RM55 1EGL is just the modem, and then there's this thing that slide it in. And I found this guy on Reddit who's like, I'll build you one of these. And I was like, okay, great. You sound like you know way more than I do about this. And then the other funny thing was, if you look around on the I Am Romulan site, he's like, oh yeah, you can get a great deal on these modems. Hit up like, I don't know, Jim Bob on Facebook, and you click the link and it literally goes to a fucking someone's Facebook page, and you're supposed to DM them and be like,
Wow.
hey dog, how about them modems?
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. That reminds me of like ye old internet, and you would just have to like find a chat room and like figure out where. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great.
It's bananas. And then here's the thing that I got. I put that in the chat, this rework.network thing. So that's like the actual device that I got, and it had the modem already in it. And then the super cool part was, once you connect a Pi to this and you go to whatever the local IP is for it, you get a admin panel that I haven't seen before that shows you all of the local cell towers you're connecting to and what the RSRQ is and RSSI and all their like fancy shit. And it's updating every 5 seconds. So I hadn't seen before where it's making all those different connections all the time. You know, I assumed like a normal person that it basically like throws out a lassos to one tower and cinches it tight, and then you're on that tower for a while. But if you watch it's actually like constantly throwing out little beams of light and like connecting to this one, connecting to that one goes down, this goes to this other one, and it's bouncing around quite a bit. It's pretty cool to see.
So, yeah, this is really cool. You're gonna have to like throw a little video together of what you're seeing there. It'd be really fascinating to like just comprehend the kind of the behind the scenes part of it.
Yeah. Yep. And then I think the other part is they loaded OpenWRT onto this thing, which I think is OpenWRT.
Yeah.
Which again, for like nerds, is like, oh yeah, I've been using that since like 1984. For me, it was like, what the fuck is this thing? And it's a way to, I guess, manage a router, and mostly for like Wi-Fi routers. But because this is a whatever modem connected to a modem, there's like all these other settings in there that are, I don't know, different and new, and certainly new for me, and like super confusing. What the fuck does this do? And how do I make this monkey dance? Because I just want the monkey to dance, Joey.
Speaking of OpenWRT, it's a great candidate for running a brownfield Wi-Fi hotspot, because you can do Passpoint in there. Which reminds me, I think I owe Siegfried an update on sort of the open brownfield stuff, which is that the Nova Lab sales team is basically going to be the main point of contact for brownfielding for the near future. So there's a couple of folks that they've already started to work with, trying to focus on like bigger deployments.
Okay.
The onesie twosie stuff is probably about 2 weeks out. And we probably won't be activating carrier offload on those until there's a robust set of coverage mapping. Just because there's otherwise like no checks to understand like where those things are.
Okay. So this brownfield OpenWRT thing, I'll have to figure out the Passpoint side. So I hadn't thought about this, but because it's going to be out on the mountain, and because it's got a pretty nice antenna and it's pointing directly at a cell tower, my understanding is you'll get better connection than just I get with my phone, because I'll be on my phone out there like talking to Jeremy, because he'll walk me through some hotspot thing, be like, dude, all right, here's what I want to do, and he's like, yeah, I lost you, and we'll have to go back to Discord or XDMs or whatever, because the connection is so bad. But it sounds like what might be a possibility is I could set up OpenWRT for this brownfield Passpoint thing, so that anyone with the Helium card, or I guess anyone, could go out there and they would get coverage, because there'd be a mini tower.
Yeah, it would of course be, throttled by whatever the weakest link is, but yeah, you could broadcast something out right in the immediate area.
That's interesting, because the other thing about that I've set up with this, because I wanted everything to be low power, is the router, or maybe it's the switch. No, it's the router that comes off of the modem, only has Ethernet connections. It's not doing any Wi-Fi, because like I don't need Wi-Fi out there. Like no one's going to be out there on Wi-Fi. But I hadn't thought that And I was just like, oh, cool. I'll just bring like a little lightning to RJ45 connector so I can just connect my phone or computer in to this thing. So if I need to go out there and do any work on it, I can do it that way. But maybe I can
Plug
just do
in.
the brownfield
Yeah.
thing and anyone can use it.
Yeah. I mean, you'll change your power requirements for sure, throwing a radio on there. But
Oh, so do you think I couldn't use the antenna that I've currently got? I'd have to get a hotspot out there as well.
no, you could use the antenna that's in if you have a Wi-Fi like just local area Wi-Fi antenna, you could activate that.
No, it's just got this. Well, I'll show you the antenna. I don't. Well, I just don't know
You're
very
doing like a
much about any of this stuff.
point-to-point thing, so
It,
I don't think you would broadcast out of that. But
yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, I don't have the fucking antenna link on the top of my head. Ah, we'll figure it out.
yeah, anyway,
But yeah,
the high level there is like the stuff has been happening. I was on a call yesterday. This what do these guys do? They some big property management thing. They just did like a two gateway pilot. I need to check on them today and see if those rewards are starting to come through on their data onlys. But um, they're rolling. There's there's a couple big wallets with a bunch of rewardable entities in them.
yeah, badass. There's the
Yeah,
uh, there's the
your
antenna.
antenna.
So the funny thing is, we don't always have people watching this in real time who know about this. There's whatever 80 some people watching it now. Usually these things get a couple hundred, and within a day, I'm almost sure of it. Someone will come on here who's like a whatever telecoms networking professional, and be like, "You're an idiot. This is how to do this. Go do this thing. Like try this other way." Which I've learned to just
Right?
ignore the "you're an idiot" part and be like, "Oh, cool. Thanks. Thanks for helping me do
Yeah,
something I had no idea how to do." And I don't know why there's
yeah,
any expectation that I know how to do it because I didn't go to fucking telecom network school or whatever it is.
yeah, yeah. I saw you posting some pictures about this thing. Uh,
Yeah, it's
eh,
big. It's a good. I mean, it's whatever. It's the size of. I guess if you're a small dude like me, 160 pounds, it's the size of like your chest cavity. Like it's not a small. If you cut off your arms and your legs and your head, you'd be left with this antenna. Although it's lighter because it's not filled with
yeah,
water and guts and a heart.
yeah. It's, it's those precious antennas.
Yeah.
Oh, the thing is big. I see some like in situ type pictures here. Yeah, that's almost as big as the those CBRS outdoors, it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. I
Yeah,
think it's in some. Maybe I'll take a picture of it
big old shoebox.
today. But yeah, yeah, it's a good sized thing. I mean, I don't think that this is a practical solution for the what I try to do, which is to beat HIP 83 and get back to being the lowest latency. Um,
Yeah,
but it's super fun to fuck around with.
yeah,
And
cool.
it was like a bunch of shit coins. So I sold a bunch of whatever shit coins I had from the shitcoin craze. I was like, these things are only going to go down. I could be wrong about that, but fuck it.
I don't
This is
know.
like it's
The goat coin was going wild last night. So and that definitely qualifies.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like my shitcoin shenanigans have just been very unprofitable. Although actually,
Same.
maybe they haven't. Maybe I got in early enough that like it's just still. I turned $200 into $800, and then I turned that into actual like physical things. So that's
Me
also
buying
frustrating.
is usually a top signal. Let's
Yeah,
see what I ended up. Uh, I bought some goat last night because everyone was going on it. So I
oh, that is yeah.
probably
That's a nice top signal. Joey says, "You just let me know when you're buying, Joey, so that
exactly.
I know that I
Yeah.
should have bought earlier."
Yep. How down am I? Uh, oh yeah, still down.
Hmm.
So yep.
You might go
The
up a little bit.
thesis
We'll see.
thesis is correct.
Yeah, we'll see how the rest of the thing goes. Okay, I think that's probably everything we got today. Anything else you have on your end for any helium stuff? Anything in your world? Sounds like you're staying pretty busy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's looking good. Bunch of new OUIs coming on board. Love to see it. So
Really?
hopefully
I
see
like
some.
fucking
Yeah.
is so actually. I've got questions about that. When I got mine, it was $800 for a lifetime. Has that
Yep.
changed? Are there new costs for OUIs? Is it a recurring cost now? Did I get grandfathered in? Like, what should I be worried about?
No recurring costs. The price did change, but it doesn't affect your setup.
Okay.
And we
And is it now cheaper
migrated
and you
over
can get
to.
like a smaller block or whatever they were called?
Yeah, the dev adders are cheaper now. The OUI price stayed the same.
Okay.
So if you need to add more dev adders because you're scaling up stuff, like that's easy to get in there now. It's $100 for 8 more.
I thought it was always $100 for 8 more, or do you just not have to buy the full 8? Because I think it was like
It,
$100 for the OUI, and then you had to buy 7 or something blocks or something like that.
yeah, it used to be you have to buy 8 dev adders and they were $100 each, and now it's $100 for 8.
Okay.
So they're $12.50 each, but you have to buy 8. So it's just like, yeah. So it went from $800 to $100 for the address
So
block.
I jumped early on that, but I got Medio Scientific out of it, so that seems a
Yep.
pretty good deal for me.
Yeah. No, you've been running. I mean, you've had that OUI technically since before the Solana migration. So,
Yeah,
um,
it was 31, and now
yeah.
it's 197, if I remember right. So
Yep. And I think you're the first OUI post Solana migration.
yeah, I remember
So,
we were excited
yeah.
about that, like it means something, which it doesn't.
Right. The numbers are fun.
Yeah, fun to
Um,
be first.
but yeah,
Cool. All right, buddy. Well, have a good
cool.
time in Ann Arbor, and I will see you, next week. I think we got a call scheduled for them.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you guys later. We're out.
All right.